Hello, all you hard-hitting and hard-boiled sons of bitches in Webtown, and welcome back to Crypto Comics. We are having a winner chicken dinner sort of a day here on Crypto Comics today, because this is a Malibu Monday worth watching, in your boy Crypto's humble opinion. Today we're gonna climb the ladder. We're climbing that ladder. We're walking out. We're walking out on the board, and we're gonna put our hands together, and we are going to deep dive right into the back issue bins and Firearm. We are going through issues Firearm 5 through 11, and this is one of the two most mature titles being released by the Ultraverse. And by mature, I mean stories for adults most of the time. There's a couple in here that are real misses for me personally. Maybe you'll like them, but they're not for me. This one, however, issue 5, was for me. Now, we left off with the wonderful story arc in issue 1 through 4, and I was so impressed by it that it compelled me to pick up the rest of the Firearm run. And I am actually really happy to bring this one to you today. I don't want to talk too much about this one, but it is kind of interesting. It takes place right after the events of Breakthrough, and we still got this kook here who is still kind of obsessed with the moon. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go into the back issue bins. You need to check out the Malibu Ultraverse playlist and watch the first ever crossover event from the Ultraverse. It was Breakthrough. People became obsessed with the moon, and you know, superheroes had to go to the moon and figure out why it was happening, and the moon could be ours. I want to, Ramon, but your wings are big enough. How many times must I tell you that? They will bear you skyward. I don't know. Well, I do. Believe me, Ellen. Believe the wall. He says on the wall, T.E. Lawrence says that the moon is ours. T.E. Lawrence picking up his fork. I guess you're gonna have to do some Googling if you don't know what we're talking about here. That's okay. And so, you know, this guy's a total kook, and he does have a third leg right there. How about that? I like that. Firearm just happens to see the chick, and thinking that they're going to commit suicide like all the moon people have been doing lately, he goes up there to you know, save the girl. And sure enough, she's pretty upset because she's got little wings. They don't give her the ability to fly. They're nothing special. She'd rather be dead than be a freak. And this just is a really good small little story about a man and a woman having a discussion about life. And that's what I liked about it. And I don't want to tell you too much because I would recommend you pick it up. It's cheap. I got it for 50 cents in the back issue bins. Your back issue bins might cost a little bit more. But this was actually a really solid story. Now, we actually talked about Firearm number 6 when we went through the Prime deep dive a couple weeks back. And so we don't even have to talk about that other than, you know, awesome cover by Dan Brereton, obviously. He's done a few in the Ultraverse. Issue number 7 is not bad. He gets picked up. Alec Swann, who, if you don't know, Alec Swann is a private detective. He doesn't have any superpowers. You know, he has no superpowers at all. And he lives in a world with superpowered people. So imagine a Batman without the suit if he was Jason Statham. That's how I imagine him. Jason Statham would play Alec Swann in a movie. Alec Swann used to work for a secret British organization called the Lodge, but he retired and moved to the Los Angeles area, Pasadena to be exact, where he became a private eye, but you know, he has to take on ultras from time to time, and so he's a very interesting character. He's very well drawn. I'll tell you who draws this. Kirk Van Wormer drew this issue. Coley Hamner draws some. James Robinson is the writer on all of these, and this one, he has to go to Seattle and try to find this little girl who has been abducted by her father. And there's some great plot twists in this one too. Not quite as good as issue 5. I liked issue 5 a bit better because it just felt more personal and was much more human. This is just a good story with a good plot twist, and I don't want to give away the plot twist either, because in addition to Firearm number 5, you might also like Firearm issue number 7. But then things change a little bit, right? Great, again, a great cover, painted by Dan Brereton. In this one, he's in Canada,
am meeting with a friend. And it's about this dog. So there's some Sasquatches too. This is not good. These interludes begin though, and we're gonna have to talk about these interludes. Okay, we'll do that in a little bit. Okay. Just bear with me. There's a couple interludes here. And then we're back to Canada. And then there's Sasquatch. They shot a baby Sasquatch, or captured a baby Sasquatch. And here come the parents, and they're very, very upset. And this is way too wonky for me. This is like Scooby-Doo. This is something that you write for kids, not for grown-ups. This is the most mature, one of the two most mature titles they release. And it turns out that it's all about this dang dog, because, check it out. This issue is dedicated to my very good friend Mike Lake, and to the memory of his beloved dog Kirby, the inspiration for this tale. So, Mike Lake's dog Kirby passed away, and his friend James Robinson wrote an entire comic book about it and got it published. Yeah. That's very sweet of his friend to do. But, it has nothing to do with Firearm. Nothing. So I'm not a big fan of that one. And this one too is I don't understand what's happening with James Robinson's writing. He's a good writer, but in random issues he incorporates stuff that is very childlike. And I'm not opposed to things like that. I love Roger Rabbit. I love all that stuff. I talk about, everything I write is inspired by Spielberg, Zemeckis, and Lucas. So, and a little professional wrestling, a little Image Comics too, also in there quite a bit. Speaking of Roger Rabbit, he's hunting down this guy. But then it's giant inflatable floats for the local parade. But they're alive and he's having to fight them. And he cuts back and forth between why he took the job and Clifford the Big Red Dog coming after him here. Yeah, this was not a good one, unfortunately. Because there you go, right? What? This is the character? This is the hard-boiled, gritty British private eye who has really great stuff like this going on, but then you wrap it around the weasels from Roger Rabbit? I don't understand. I really don't understand. And so I'm not feeling this at all. At all. Sorry. What I did find to be very good was issues 10 and 11, which is what I really want to share with all of you today, if you made it this far into the video. Now you're in for a real treat, because this is the Firearm I'm interested in, the Firearm I have fallen in love with, and I am hoping, I'm greatly hoping that issues 12 through 18 maintain this level of quality right here, because this is something, if they would have skipped some of those other issues and got him away from that wonky stuff and just stuck with this, this title would be dynamite. This would be dynamite. I'm surprised that nothing like this is cropped up at another comic book company, actually. Great movie, right? Great movie. Sign that this is going to be a good comic is the fact that they're promoting this film right here. Woody Harrelson, Juliette Lewis, Robert Downey Jr., Tommy Lee Jones. If you've never seen this movie, you need to watch this movie. This is great. It was met with a fair deal of controversy in it today. Some people didn't like it at all. I think it was 20 years ahead of its time. Now, I will transform my voice into Alec Swann's voice. The bastards. Now I've got to get my Jason Statham on. Hello, love. How are you? The bastards. Sure. I made a deal with them. Sure, I agreed. In return for information about the whereabouts of Prime that the Lodge could supply, I'd undertake a case for them. And we talked about that, like I said, in the Prime deep dive we just did. Not go back to my Lodge squire murdering ways. Sad that like. No, simply a PI. If they wanted someone found, something found out, I'd do that for them. But I did not think they'd call my dead end this quickly. Typical. Me being naive, them being a department of sneaky, snarl, creepy toe rags. They must have had something planned for me all along. And like a mug, I agreed to it. Like I say though, I just didn't think it would be this soon, no. And I hoped that whatever the case was, it would take place on Yank soil. But oh no, ticket in the mail, curt little memo attached to it, and they got me back here. The bastards. Back here to this poor, sad, grey, bleeding city. South of Watford, then way, way north.
Written by James Robinson, art by Gary Erskine. And this is where we start to get a lot of the backstory of Firearm. Alec Swann starts to come into play here, and we learn about the Lodge, this secret government agency.
Now, regarding the Lodge, an officer which we're about to see, the Lodge, if you allow me a moment to be poncy and poetic, of the kingdoms within the British Secret Service, the Lodge is a Camelot of lunacy. Look here, one government department after another, all the same, dull wooden doors hiding dull wooden men behind the dull wooden desks. Department of this, department of that. And here, no different. The Lodge, little lettering, hard to read, easy to pass by, which is just how they like it. But open that door and presto changeo. Welcome to Camelot. I'll make this metaphor deliberately, by the by, Camelot and all. Basil Wentworth was the fellow who started this whole thing up. I won't get into the whys and wherefores now. Suffice to say that before the world had coined the term ultras, or even knew the existence of them, the Lodge had a few working for it. And God forbid Wentworth gave everybody code numbers or letters, you know, 007, M, Q, R2D2, that sort of thing. Oh no, old Basil, bless his warm winter slippers, was besotted with the likes of Mallory and Scott and T.W. White. He felt he was King Arthur, and the Lodge was his kingdom. Ultra-powered agents were termed knights. Non-powered field operatives like myself were called squires. The important squires, the ones specialised, had code names too. Yeah, like Firearm. Exactly like Firearm. The grunts, the desk jobs, the little grey men with the snotty expressions when they signed your expense charts. Filers and phoners. They were called serfs. Wentworth died in the late 50s. Bit of a black comedy that, and no mistake. A border exchange where everything that could go bad did. Which is when the Lodge came under the control of the current head, Virginia Lockwood, one of the original ultra-powered knights. She's harder to meet than Margaret Thatcher, and about a tenth as likeable. And considering I voted Labour all the time I was in England, that isn't saying a whole lot. Anyway, we won't be meeting Lockwood, not today. The woman who cheerfully signed the papers sending me to my death, those many years gone. What would I say to her after all? Now, the best we're going to get here is a serf.
Mr. Swann, my name is Candle.
A filer and phoner. Candle? Is that your code name?
No, it's my real name, Archibald Candle. Call me Archie, though, please.
I'm not sure quite what I'll call you. It might be something absolutely obscene, I'll warn you now, depending on what this case is you want me to take.
I was merely trying to establish a few pleasantries before...
No, none of that. This isn't Old Home Week. It's not Thanksgiving on Walton's Mountain either. I am not happy being here.
Coffee then, perhaps?
Tea.
Good, good. Tea, yes, I'll have some too. Oh, Frankie!
So.
You knew a Professor McTavish, did you not? He was kidnapped. You got him back for us, according to your tome-like file. When you fought werewolves?
Yeah, that was one of the things I encountered. It was Eastern Europe, after all.
You take it in your stride, such an experience. Impressive.
No, I'm just dumb. Life like mine, werewolves, androids, goblins, maniacs. It all gets to be one big psychedelic Bosch painting for too long. Nice tea, by the way.
Thank you. Anyway, the professor died last year. Natural causes. Too fond of his whiskey and pork pies was our McTavish.
So?
He was a scientist. Scientists, as a rule, don't believe in an afterlife. We, this Earth and its people, are just a cosmic fluke, science's little joke.
So?
McTavish's specialty was computers. You knew that?
No, didn't care neither. He was just a boff and I had to get free and get home. Really? How, single-minded of you.
I was a soldier. Soldiers are.
Cyberspace is the world within computers, the electronic superhighway I've heard it called, where
I've read William Gibson. I know what cyberspace is. Science fiction.
McTavish had conquered that world, Swann. He'd made it science fact. He wanted an afterlife, and he created one there. He mastered a means of encoding his consciousness, downloaded it into his computer, and from there, well, into cyberspace as a whole.
And how do you know this?
McTavish's notes. And what little our hackers can ascertain. He created Glasgow, his home.
What? In cyberspace? Glasgow? Bullshit.
McTavish is there now, living a life, and he wanted those who had done him good deeds in the past to have that life too. He created the program allowing 4 others the ability to have their consciousness encoded. 3 of them, all large operatives luckily, are already inside the computer, inside McTavish's Glasgow, as we speak.
I think I see where this is all going. I hope not, but I think I do. Go on.
McTavish's conquering of cyberspace. We need it, Swann. Your country needs it. The operatives we sent in, those other 3, went in the hope of getting McTavish to expand on his notes, explain things to the point we could make use of them.
And?
News came in, after they'd been dispatched, that one of these operatives was a double agent.
Yeah?
But we don't know who. Well, we know who it isn't, but not who it is. If that makes any sense.
No, not at all.
All right, step through here. This may be a shock.
Yeah, lead on.
Here, the 3 we were able to encode. Bales, Patel, and Faulkner. As you can see, Bales
could do with a holiday.
Yes, indeed. He's quite dead, of course. We keep him hooked up for the fear of disrupting the electronic balance between him and the 2 remaining men.
What happened?
I wish I could tell you. It's assumed that in Glasgow he was killed. Somehow that death affected him in reality, as much as it did within the computer.
So it's Patel or Faulkner. One of them is the traitor. One of them snuffed Bales. That's what you're telling me?
The only ones who could tell us are still there in Glasgow.
And this, I take it, is where I come in?
McTavish encoded you. You're the only other person we can send in there. Do you remember him telling you he would, Swann? Do you remember anything McTavish said that might have hinted of his intentions? Do you want to live forever, Mr. Swann? Immortality. Would you like that?
At this moment in time, Mac T, I'll be happy living till day's end, if you must know. Now keep your head down before you lose it. Now, nothing springs to mind.
We want to send you in there, into the computer, into cyberspace, to Glasgow.
No way. Not in a million maiden aunts am I doing this. But I'm thinking that these 3 sleeping princes would be up and about and answering questions if you could revive them. The traitor would be caught, and the other 2 having a couple with us, if you could bring them back. No, this is a one-way trip, isn't it?
It might be, yes. But if you could find McTavish and get the correct information back to us somehow, it's possible that the effects could be reversed.
Dream on, Kendall. You and Miss Lockwood, and the whole bleeding lot of you, can stick your plots and plans in cyberspace where the monkey sticks his nuts. I am not going anywhere but the airport by way of getting back to Pasadena and peace.
I'm afraid your option for refusing really isn't open at this time, Swann.
What do you mean?
We drugged your tea.
My heart belongs to Glasgow, dear old Glasgow town. There's something the matter with Glasgow, 'cause it's spinning round and round. I'm only a common old working lad, as anyone here can see. But when I have a couple of drinks on a Saturday, Glasgow belongs to me.
Here we are. Welcome to cyberspace, ladies and gentlemen. The future. Wah, 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 wah. The future.
What is with these midgets here? God, I don't understand. The fashion, we have, Bono's still there, though. He's in cyberspace, so because he's a big name in the United Kingdom and around the world, of course. Yeah, this has got a real Mobius vibe to it, doesn't it? Very impressive. That's choice, by the way.
From Hardcase. You don't know. It's the only time they actually paint her Asian. It's so weird. She looks like a white girl
Through the whole comic book, and you find out she's Asian. And of course, you know, where do you go? You go to a pub.
Drink. Draft Guinness. A pint. So, I'm in Glasgow. I'm in cyberspace. I'm in it up to my eyelids is what I am. These people around here, are they real? Were they encoded in like me? Or are they bots? Data? Part of McTavish's computer program? NPCs?
It's just like, oh, look at this. We've got the Clockwork Orange gang here. Look at these droogs. And this is just like, I don't know, it's Portland. This is like the bar where Larry Wachowski first figured out that he was Lana Wachowski, I think. Which also looks similar to the vampire bar in Blade 2, the House of Pain.
Okay, the NPCs, the stout tastes real enough. One good thing, I suppose. Still, the first step here is to find Mac T. First question I ask, the first person I ask it to, it's got to be right.
Swann?
Yeah?
Don't look so surprised. We've been expecting you.
All right, it's a fair cop and all that. Take me to your boss, whoever he is. Easiest, maybe the only way to get some answers around here.
No. What made you think we were detaining you? Whatever made you think that? No, you are far too volatile to live.
Bang! Got to. Can't let.
And he glasses him. Oh man, brutal. Takes the jaw right off.
Take him. One. Any of you. Bring him down.
Blam, 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 blam. Well, this didn't take long for the craziness to happen. Not long at all. Still, what should I have expected? Common Reason? An E.M. Forster novel, maybe? Yeah, right.
We got another interlude. We'll get back to those later.
Now, you might think to ask, how did I get from back in the pub to up here on the rooftops? Range, got him! Indeed, you might well ask, but don't, because I've no time to tell you. Boom. This time now, range is right. Too bleeding right for my liking.
Badian and some of the others are up there, sir. The rooftops. They're on him. Close.
That's all well and good, but close isn't how I want him. Dead is the condition I'd like to find Mr. Swann, and ASAP.
What shall we
do? Follow my instructions there. The space between buildings. Watch. Be ready to shoot when I tell you.
Yes, of course, Mr. Faulkner.
So this is the double agent.
There's got to be an out to this. I have to tell myself that to keep going. There has to be an out.
There. Now, as he jumps, fire. Bang, 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 bang.
To be continued in
Firearm. Issue number 11. Yeah, this story stays good.
I had a dream, I guess. Guess it must have been a dream. I died. I was shot clean through, and I died. And I felt nothing. No light at the end of the tunnel, no old dead friends guiding me on to the great hereafter, no cherubs on clouds, no harps and angels, no St. Peter, no pearly gates. Nothing. Black and stark and final. But you know, after all the cobblers I'm dragged through on a day-by-hour, by-daily basis, the black and stark is also the quiet and peaceful. Is this death? I wonder, because if it is, I could get to like it.
Hey, Scarface. Wake up. You're not dead. Not until I want you dead.
McTavish.
Mr. Swann.
Aye, but it's
a pleasure. Been a while.
Yeah, surely has. And you're Faulkner, right?
Yes, and you're Swann. I've long looked forward to this meeting. The legendary Firearm, the man with the gun.
Yeah, well, I lost the Firearm code name when I left the lodge.
So, this story goes on. He's got Patel hooked up because they're inextricably linked. When McTavish built cyberspace, built Glasgow, and encoded these three to be in it, he linked them all together. So when Bales was murdered, it affected them also, but Faulkner, the double agent, recovered quicker and then kept him in this stasis. It just keeps him alive on the feeding tube. And, you know, because he can't kill him, because he knows if he kills him, then that's going to be the end of him too. But when McTavish encoded Firearm, oh no, my people. That is a man encoded all on his own. And so he's going to rescue him, right? And again, we have the interludes. Another interlude. These don't have anything to do with this story here.
If I smoked, at this moment in time I would.
So the plot thickens, of course, as you continue through this story. And you get this, the scuzziest looking Portlanders start showing up here. Oh, make me want to retch. But, man, finely detailed art here. I really enjoy it. Look at that, Bono's here again. What? He just keeps putting Bono in this thing. I love it. A lot of interesting stuff going on in the background. I really like to study it all. Those two little weird midgets again. Oh my gosh. This is exactly what Portland looks like now. Except for we don't see people wearing these outfits here. These people right in here. These people don't fit, but all these other people do, other than the flying nun. So as you can see, the action keeps going. He gets his arm blown off. Can you believe that? He literally gets his arm blown off. And I don't want to tell you and spoil how all this ends, because I think you might actually like Firearm issue 10 and 11 and 5 and 7. I think all these would do you good. If you're into Batman, if you're looking for something that kind of has more of that thriller, suspense, mystery, detective, whodunit vibe to it, Firearm might be something you enjoy. And I'm going to tell you right now, you want to get issues 1 through 5, 7, 10, 11. Personally, I don't need 6, 8, or 9 at all. At all. They don't do anything for me. These ones do, though. These ones definitely do. So I'm just going to keep on rocking in the free world. And I've been happy to share them with you, but the interlude thing, I want to talk about the interlude, because that's the next phase of the Firearm series before it concludes. Here we go. Yes, the snowstorm issue. This is interesting. Interlude. Ben Garrett's family is one of the wealthiest in Philadelphia. Old money, too. The best kind, as Ben's been taught and told on many the occasion. Perhaps it's growing up with wealth without care or worry. Perhaps. But Ben has no desire to combat crime. Good deeds are for heroes, and Ben is no hero. He's an ultra, true, but that's all. He can fly. He likes to. He loves to, in fact. At night, it clears his head and helps him think. He's an ultra, true, but that's all. And Rafferty is coming. What? Rafferty is coming. Rafferty is coming in the pages of Firearm. And we're going to keep checking this out as I tease you with this, because this Rafferty story is something I'm actually anticipating greatly. And I don't want to talk about who Rafferty is or what he is, because we're going to talk about him here in the future on Crypto Comics. Because as I've said repeatedly, Firearm is definitely one of the stronger Ultraverse titles out there. So this is the next interlude. North Carolina. You look new, a little nervous. Yes, it's my first lesson, the free one that they advertise in the local paper. First lesson? Well, it won't be your last. Ramon is wonderful. He'll have you gliding across the floor in no time. Isn't that right, Claire? Oh yes. Ramon is... Dancing with him becomes like an addiction. I have 5 lessons a week. My husband would kill me if he knew how much money I was spending here. That's the one problem, actually. Ramon's so good that dancing with anyone else is, I don't know, anticlimactic. There's something about Ramon when you're in his arms. It's like you're waltzing on air. It's uncanny. Quite uncanny. But Rafferty doesn't dance. Another interlude. Detroit. And as we continue monitoring this tense situation, SWAT is now preparing for...
Are you ready, boys? Are you ready?
Yes, Sarge.
Good, because Lucas is coming out. When do we fire?
When? Didn't you hear what Lucas did to those bank tellers? No waiting. Fire, fire, fire! Bullets? That's the best you can do? Bullets? How a pig's ever gonna stop me when nothing can?
Well, I don't know if that's true. Rafferty might be able to stop him. Another interlude. Mr. Karn? Mr. Karn. Oh, am I glad I caught up with you. Who? It's Miss Slater, your neighbor. I just wanted to say happy birthday. It is your birthday, isn't it?
Why, yes, it is indeed.
How did you know? You told me once. You mentioned it, and I never forget a birthday.
Well, thank you.
And how's your new baby girl? Where is she? Here with me. We were out for a walk when we saw you.
Penny, that's a name, yes? I've remembered correctly, haven't I? I'd be so embarrassed if after you remember my birthday I forgot her name.
No, you're right. That's it.
Hey there, little girl.
Penny, Mr. Karn, are you what is it, Mr. Karn? Are you okay?
I don't know. I leaned into. Oh my God, I can see.
Something strange going on here. These little interludes in the firearm. There's others. There's more. I'll find them all. Hunt them down here for you. Beautiful people in Webtown. There it was. Chicago. Diary entry, Wednesday. Once again, I feel a qualm of shame, of civic duty maybe, concern for my fellow man. It was brief, but I felt it nonetheless. This feeling that perhaps I should put my ultra powers to good use, save lives, stop crimes. But I don't care. Not really. Not for very long. I don't care about my powers. Ultra strength and speed and x-ray vision, it all seems so... I want to write the great novel of this or any time. I must be a writer. But the words do not come. Not to Clive Sanders. Not the words. He does not think to know to write them. The words. Rafferty is coming.
A smoke. That's what this evening calls for.
Sandra Kay. She likes to torch things. Buildings, big structures.
Seeing them burn. Sweet. Like Shirley Temple and teddy bears and a menthol cig first thing in the morning. Connecticut town here has a house built in 1832. Old wood. Dry wood by now, I bet. You ask me, the place needs space for a new parking lot anyway.
Yet for Sandra Kay too, Rafferty comes. What is going on here, people? I know what's coming. Here we go. San Diego. Miss Slater, thank you so much for coming here, for your time. A first-class flight paid by you? I've had worse traveling experiences. Now you do know of me? You're aware of my work, the Lord's work that I undertake for him. I've seen your television broadcasts, yes, and everyone, the whole country over, has heard of your wonderful cathedral. And you know why I asked you to come here? My aides told you that much? My daughter. Yes, the baby Penny, miraculous child that she is. She cured a blind man. She cured a small boy of polio. And there was an older woman, my aunt. Yes, she had liver problems. Something wrong with her lung, too. Penny cured both ailments. I've tried to keep all this a secret, though. Quiet. I know how these things can get crazy. In the wrong hands, yes. But how can the hands be wrong of he who has God in his heart? You? I have plans for your daughter, and you. Great plans. Trust me. Ally yourself with me, and we will achieve wonderment. Interlude 2. Right Man and the Devilish Dr. Z. One good, one bad. Both ultra. They hate each other. Their hatred pure and sweet and fierce. But Rafferty hates them more.
Because you see, Rafferty
Is the Ultraverse's first serial killer. And guess who's going to be on the hunt for him? This guy right here by the name of Alec Swann, a.k.a. Firearm. One of the finest Ultraverse titles you're going to be able to find in the back issue bins at your local comic shop. I've appreciated more than half the issues that have come out, and I suggest it to anyone who likes Batman. If you want to see Batman without all the gadgets and all the firepower take on some baddies, this might serve you well. If you're a Raymond Chandler fan, this might serve you well. Mickey Spillane, this might serve you well. Patricia Cornwell, this might serve you well. It does the trick for me, and yeah, I like it. I like this a little bit more mature story. It's kind of nice. I don't need superheroes all the time, but it's interesting to always hear the story of a person existing in a world with superheroes, even though they themselves are not superpowered. Which brings me to my next book that's coming out this spring. It's called Nobody's Hero. Now, it's not quite as intense as Firearm, not quite as mature as Firearm. My books tend to be for people between the ages of 8 and 80 years old. But I have a feeling that you will really enjoy it if you are a longtime comic fan. You could say that it is my homage to the comic book industry of the 20th century that many of us were lucky enough to grow up on, and that I talk about here nearly every single day on Crypto Comics. So look for Nobody's Hero when it comes out this spring. And remember to keep tuning right in here, Crypto Comics, for all your back issue needs. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe, hit the ding dong for notifications. Don't be afraid to check out my previous book, Young Barbarians, available on Amazon.com, as well as other books from the Lost Library like The Gaslight Gang, Curse of the Grey Gargoyle, and Destination Genesis. All there to entertain you beautiful people in Webtown, courtesy of your boy, Crypto Comics. See you next time.